understand they're saying that all those glaciers are being undermined from underneath. You can't tell from the top what's happening until they crack. Or drill into it. "51 seconds, Dave." Oh, there you are. I got you. I'm starting to get nervous.
I can count, John. Come on.
It's not you at all. It's me. It's obvious you can count. You were in.
J-Flow still says 3 sisters. What? We're doing what?
3 sisters. Dude, you scared me, Joe.
I thought this was an easy ride.
What's the pace on your 3 sisters ride? Never mind.
All right. Let's see if we can get everyone organized here, nice and steady. There we go. We usually have a pretty good crew here. We've got 10 or so riders, 10 or 12 riders here in the feed zone in the module here, just about to roll on to the start-finish line. And we are just making sure everything is up and rolling. We've got a really exciting talk today. A lot of it is pre-recorded, and I'm going to get everybody on the audio side. Hopefully I can make this all work. Turn all the knobs so that everybody both on Discord and on Zwift Live can hear our stream today. So far so good. Okay, let's get on with the show. First up, we've got a nice little inspirational video. So if you got a chance, pull up that feed on Zwift Live, and you can get the audio, the video on this. But I'll put the audio over Discord now.
Hey guys, fly a drone, make a friend. I hope you enjoyed watching Kevin Day, pro cyclist, conquer Francis Peak. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Bones it.
All right, back on track. So that was a really inspirational video actually from the team / group that we'll be talking about today. And the group that we'll be talking about is actually, the name is Endurance 360. So let me get everything queued up here. We've got a couple slides just to kind of introduce the group, and then I have a really cool interview with the creator of and the owner of Endurance 360, a product that I'm actually testing, and we'll kind of go through all of that during our talk today. So let me kind of cue that guy up, and then we should be good to go. All right, so just quick introductions per usual. My name is Jason Flores, aka JFlow here on Zwift, so definitely check me out online. We'll be passing on ride-ons, and a quick medical disclaimer that the purpose of this live stream is to educate and to inform. It's not a substitute for professional care by a doctor or any other qualified medical professional, and that it is provided on the understanding that it does not constitute any medical or professional advice. Goals of the live stream per usual is to present current articles in the media covering food and hydration and how it relates to endurance sports, and to open up a dialogue for viewers to ask questions, to get advice, and to talk about their experiences. So today, we've got a really interesting interview, like I said, and I'll be talking a little bit about the product right after the interview live and answering questions about it. And the product is called Endurance 360, Complete Endurance. And I've got an interview coming up here with the co-creator of Endurance 360. I queued a bunch of our riders on Team ODZ about questions they'd have about any supplement, and kind of questions that I had or that I felt were really important to anybody that would be interested in taking this sort of thing. So let me cue that up. We should be good to go. So just give me a second here. Yes. Hey, how's it going, viewers? This is Jason Flores on In the Feed Zone and Zwift Live by ODZ. I'm here with Cameron Hoffman from Endurance 360. We're going to have a little chat today about a product that is, I think you guys... Hey, how's it going, viewers? This is Jason Flores on In the Feed Zone and Zwift Live by ODZ. I'm here with Cameron Hoffman from Endurance 360. We're going to have a little chat today about a product that is, I think you guys will find very, very interesting, but I'm going to let him tell you all about it. I'm going to start out with a couple questions that you guys have submitted that I've kind of put together, just to kind of get a little bit more information from Cameron about how this could help us in our endurance racing and training. So Cameron, tell us a little about yourself and share with us, let's say, an elevator pitch of the product and what we're talking about or introducing today.
Well, Jason, thanks for having me, and hopefully we can meet up with more of your viewers. I'm always open and happy to meet anybody that wants to reach out. So I grew up in Northern California, started racing road bikes at age 11. I'm 39 now, and started running through the ranks pretty quickly. By the time I was 18, I was a Cat 1 on the road.
Nice.
And I found myself on the national team by the time I was 19. Spent a couple of years there. Took some time off the bike. I went on an LDS church mission in Cambodia and lived there for 2 years. Came back home, but my parents moved to Utah. And so I came back home to Utah and started a life here. Have a family. I'm married 13 years. Have 3 kids, 11, 9, and 5. And kids love going to the races, and they're starting to get into those ages where they can start riding and racing as well. So it's a lot of fun. I've been competing here in the Mountain States and nationally, and a little bit of international races here the last few years. Last fall, I went down to down to New Zealand for a stage race down there. That was a lot of fun. Hard racing, tough crowd down in New Zealand. I've been down to New Zealand for a stage race down there. That was a lot, and even velodrome racing last couple of years. I won a Masters points race national championship on the track this last year. That was a good time.
Impressive.
So that's a little bit about me and racing. I love it. I enjoy it. It's in my blood, and I've taken a little bit of a break this year, which has been nice. Focused a little bit more time on the family and work and Endurance 360. So a little bit about Endurance 360, where kind of it came from, our roots. I've always been a supplement user over the years. My mother, she's really funny. Growing up, she always kind of gave us kids, me and my siblings, vitamins to take, and that they're not very good tasting, especially back then. They just didn't taste very good, and so.
Oh yeah.
When you're a kid, taste is everything. So I used to hide my pills that my mom would give me. They were just vitamins, and that's about it. So I used to hide them, stash them away, flush them in the toilet. Just. But my mother, she always really knew supplements really well, and so I always kind of grew up knowing them and also taking them. And as I grew older into the ranks, I also took supplements more seriously, and especially as I started to learn what worked for me and what worked for endurance athletes. Over the last several years here in Utah, in 2007, I did a race called Lotaja. It's a 200-mile single-day event. It's from Logan, Utah to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. You go through 3 states, Utah, Idaho, and Wyoming. It's a really hard event. It's in September. It's a long day. 100 miles is one thing. 200 miles is a whole different ball game, and you really have to prepare differently. And preparing for that event, looking around at my supplement intake, there's some good formulas out there, some decent formulas out there, but I couldn't find anything that was really well-rounded that also was affordable. I was looking at different items that were in the $60 to $80 range, and then you'd also have to add on some other stuff for your electrolytes or maybe even proteins. And I've been working in the supplement space. I worked at a dietary supplement company for 4 years, and there I'm around PhDs and chemists, and so with that experience, I was able to put together a formula, and we came up with Endurance 360. Me and my partner, we co-formulated it, and Endurance 360, great formula. Endurance athletes is where it's geared toward.
Yep.
So I guess the elevator pitch is, Endurance 360 is the most complete all-in-one endurance formula available on the market.
Mm-hmm.
And it's completely safe and effective for endurance athletes. I guess I only get this question from cyclists. If it's safe, for competitive use. But anybody that knows me knows that I would never, produce or promote a product that would not be a safe and effective product.
Yeah. You have an interesting story about that. I think you had an athlete recently that was tested. Could you tell us a little bit about that? Yeah,
so we did. I've got a good friend that I got to know the last few years in Texas, out of Dallas, Texas. He's a fast masters road racer. He's been around for years, and he's been suffering with muscle cramps. And so, we got talking. I said, hey, you really need to take Endurance 360. It does a great job with muscle cramps. And so, a little reluctant, but he decided, okay, I'll do it. After taking Endurance 360, his muscle cramps largely disappeared. And He was taking it consistently for a good month and a half before the Tulsa Tough Criterium races.
Yep.
You ever been out to those races? Those are fun, but they are tough. They're hard races, and you get a good crowd that goes out there. USADA decided to show up to the event, and were pulling Masters racers left and right. And he won one of the criteriums, so they pulled him out after the race and hauled him over to the testing tent. And afterwards, he finds me and he's like, "Oh, I am so nervous." He was a little intense. He's because he was really nervous. He says, I only take an iron supplement and the Endurance 360, and that's it. I don't take anything else. I said, "Okay, that's fine. You're going to be just fine." And but he wanted that reassurance that he was going to be okay. A couple months later, he got his USADA letter that he was clear and everything was fine. And so he was really stoked about that. And so we got together and used that as a little bit of a marketing buzz, but it helps to prove that, hey, Endurance 360 is safe and effective. I think we have a little bit of maybe not a little bit. We have quite a competitive edge. My partner owns the laboratory that manufactures the Endurance 360, and therefore we can control the ingredients that go through the laboratory. All the other ingredients are just like some herbs and vitamins, and that's it. Really low level.
Yeah, so I'm definitely looking at the label or kind of going through it. There's a lot of unique components that maybe some of our viewers haven't heard of. Maybe you can kind of just give us a list. I mean, a lot of it is, the big ones are like creatine and beta-alanine, and we've talked about those here in the feed zone. But maybe some of those other smaller ones that you may, some of our viewers may not. Could you give us a little light on those? Yeah,
sure. So, creatine and beta-alanine, couple of big components. There's a lot of, creatine's been around for a long time. There's Absolutely. A lot of research behind it. Most of the research, admittedly, there are research geared toward endurance athletes, cyclists particularly, but most of the research that we hear and see is coming from the bodybuilding crowd.
Mm-hmm.
If you really kind of take a step back approach that, bodybuilding and cycling, endurance athletes, the goal is still kind of the same. Bodybuilders, they're looking to bulk up usually, and but they also want to build strength. Endurance athletes, other than the bulk, we're looking for the strength.
Mm-hmm.
And creatine doesn't necessarily bulk you at all, but it does a great job with recovery and helping to strengthen those muscles quicker.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of research behind it. Beta-alanine is a little bit newer in the space, but it's got a lot of really good research behind it as well. And so those are the top two. And creatine is fairly unique in endurance formulas. You usually don't see it there, but it was important to put it in the Endurance 360 formula. It's a differentiator between our formula and other formulas on the market. But we've also got cordyceps, rhodiola. There's a list of amino acids. And then we've listed some minerals for largely muscle cramps and just general mineral use. Minerals are great for helping your muscles contract. They're great for that.
All right. So I guess... Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll dive a little bit deeper into cordyceps and rhodiola.
That was the one I was going to mention. Yeah.
Yeah, rhodiola's got a longer history with the Sherpa people over by Mount Everest.
Mm-hmm.
So people, they live at really high altitudes, and obviously the oxygen levels are less there, and the people have adapted really well to that altitude. But when they do take, I guess, tourists up to Mount Everest, a lot of times they will chew on the rhodiola root as they're taking these tourists up Mount Everest. The tourists are all on oxygen tanks, but the Sherpa people will take rhodiola root and chew on it. And what it does is it helps your body absorb oxygen better. And as athletes with muscles, oxygen is everything. Oxygen is everything. When you've got all the nutrients that you need in your body, all your muscles need from there is oxygen. It's like putting gasoline on a fire. Mm-hmm. And the cordyceps help drive that oxygen throughout your body. So it's a couple of really good, unique ingredients to have in a formula. And
definitely see that in the integrative medicine scene more and more. Herbs or Eastern medicine herbs coming into kind of an integrated approach to endurance as well as health. So something that we're kind of seeing that crossover. So that's really great to see. I wanted to touch really quickly. You did mention about the manufacturing process. Could we just highlight, I guess, maybe for some of the viewers, that how important that is compared to other supplements that could be made from anywhere. You shared a story with me earlier about, how you could easily pick this, that, or the other from somewhere else and not know where any of it comes from. Maybe you could share exactly how good this product actually is or why it's so good because of what you do. Yeah,
so with my partner owning the actual manufacturing facility, and we can control the ingredients that go through the facility. Therefore, we've got a competitive advantage where there's not going to be any cross-contamination among other products being produced at that location. And none of my competitor supplement products can claim that. They all use outsourced manufacturing groups, and they're quality groups, but they do use the same machines for bodybuilding products, and their own supplements, and there's some crossover. You can go into any health food store, into any GNC, and there's plenty of product, plenty of ingredients in those locations that endurance athletes that compete, we can't take. It's on the the do not take list.
Absolutely, and then after a long period, you could definitely have something show up that you may not have thought you've had. So yeah, definitely very, very important.
Well, what I find is most athletes, most of them are not going to be tested by USADA, but they want to know that what they're taking is safe anyway.
Absolutely.
It's safe to take in their body. It's safe and healthy for their body, but as well as it doesn't cross that line. And most of the people I meet, they don't ever want to even come close to that line. And I think that's a great thing. There's a good moral compass among the endurance crowd. Yeah, there's a few there's a few issues, but for the most part, there's a great moral compass among the group, and that I can appreciate.
Absolutely. So I guess with the product itself, could you tell us a little bit about the dosing or what an athlete can expect to feel, or kind of how they use it, or side effects or anything like that, all that stuff, dosing and things?
Yeah, so I really have to hit home on dosing often. I get athletes that want to take a lower dosage to maybe stretch it out a little bit further, or maybe they just think it needs to be conserved, or I don't know. There's a lot of ideas that get into people's minds, but the dosage is 5 capsules per day. It takes about 10 to 14 days to really kick in. And there's that absorption period. There's some ingredients that activate fairly quickly. There are many ingredients that take some time to fully absorb. And therefore, it's about that 10 to 14 day period for it to fully kick in. So if you've got events coming up, you got to get on it early on. And not only for events, but it's also for your training. I'll get into that, but you want to take the 5 capsules all at the same time. We usually recommend right around breakfast time. You might feel a little bit of a tingly or maybe a flush in your face sensation, and that's from the beta alanine.
Yeah.
Not everybody experiences it, but most people do, and it only lasts for about 5-10 minutes, then it dissipates and goes away. But that means you can feel it going through your body.
Yeah.
And that's It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad side effect. It's just a side effect. So that's it. It really just takes about 10 to 14 days to absorb and be fully loaded in your system. You know, what we need to do in our training is to take Endurance 360 during training where you're doing heavy intervals or big miles.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a better workout during those hard training days. You want a great workout during the training days, not necessarily just for race day.
Yeah.
Because what the idea here, you know, we're all trying to do this. We're doing intervals so we can stretch our body to another level, right? And then
That's
stretch
right.
it again to another level. And then you've got to recover, and then you stretch it again. So that's just kind of the process of recovery, hard riding, big miles. And it's the combination of doing it the right way that will help. But in part of that training, sometimes our training loads are pretty heavy, right? We've got big miles we've got to put in. We've got to put in some really hard intervals. Some of those intervals require big hill climbing days, or they're just super short and intense. The idea here is you want to be able to recover from those quickly so that you can get back on it and hit it again the next day and the next day.
Right.
But if you have to do one hard workout one day and then rest the next day and then do another hard workout and then rest again, well, that up and down isn't good. You want to have good 2-3 days of good hard workouts and then rest from that, and then a couple 2-3 days. But if you're not able to recover, you're going to find that you're not going to hit the peak fitness levels that you're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. So having this during the training phase is definitely very important versus just having it right before an event. So this is something essentially year-round our athletes can take, right?
Oh, absolutely. And a lot of athletes will take it during the winter months where they're doing a lot of weightlifting. They're doing other cross training. They're doing other big miles. So it's good to have that in your system for the recovery purpose. And, of course, the other bonus of, muscle cramp protection, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. So yeah, it looks like we've got through a lot of the questions that we had put together and that you and I kind of wanted to touch on. If there's anything else that you wanted to add, we can kind of put that in here. We hit a lot of good points here.
So I have two different formulas with Endurance 360. One with caffeine, it's an orange bottle, and one without caffeine.
Okay.
The one with caffeine, it's designed for race day or hard interval day. It's got all the same ingredients, but it also includes caffeine. And it's really cool there to have that extra caffeine boost. I know people like to get their caffeine through different sources, but if you don't want to get your caffeine through sugary gel packs or coffee, then this could be a no-calorie way of getting your caffeine. It's 135 milligrams per serving, so it's in the 5 capsules, 135 milligrams. It's about a cup of coffee.
Yeah, maybe
a cup and a half. So there's that. Endurance 360 got two different formulas, one with caffeine, one without. And then more recently, I've designed a new formula. It's called Beetroot Pro.
Nice.
It's a new brand. And it's geared toward athletes and health and wellness crowd. It's got it's got BCAA amino acids. So those are the building block amino acids for muscles. It's got potassium, magnesium, and vitamin B12. If you've never taken Beetroot Pro is awesome. So Endurance 360 would be for your muscles, recovery, and breathing, whereas Beetroot is designed to help. It's a vascular dilator, natural and gentle vascular dilator, so gently open up your blood vessels. Yeah, that means more blood volume pumping through your vessels. That is only a good thing for athletes, and it's incredible. So beetrootpro.com is where that is found. And both Endurance 360 and Beetroot Pro, we've got a discount code. Jason, how did you want?
Yeah, we could do that here. Yeah, we could do it through here. That's fine. You can announce it here, and then I could repost it. That's fine.
Okay. So endurance360.com and beetrootpro.com. we've got a 15% off code. Use July Fun as your code for 15% off. You'll love it. You'll absolutely love it. Great stuff.
Yeah, that's great. And we've actually covered a little bit about beetroot here on In the Feed Zone. And one of the big things, if the viewers remember, was trying to get the right amount in without having GI distress. And this is something Cameron and I had talked about, and this makes it really easy. It's, I think, remember Cameron, I think you mentioned it's like really mixable, right? It stays in the water. It doesn't just keep settling and you're trying to put it down. So it's got, if you were looking to get beetroot in or you're using it now, this is definitely a good source. So check that out. He did mention that to us, and he's got a great...
Not all beetroot is all the same. It is not. There's a lot of beetroot out there that is very cheap, or it includes the fibers and the it's like a beetroot pulp. Not good. It can be bad for your intestines. It can be hard to digest, and a lot of people have difficulty with it. My beetroot is an extract. It's very fine. It dilutes easily in water, so if you want to take it just with water, or if you want to mix it in with a smoothie, it'll be super easy. It will dilute and mix easily. It tastes great. It's got a great taste with it, and then of course we've enhanced it with the other aminos and vitamins.
Absolutely, absolutely. So really great information here. I'll be doing a quick wrap up of all the things we talked about here today at the end of the feed zone, and also a quick touch on the creatine, the beta-alanine, the cordyceps, the amino acids, and the couple of minerals that Cameron mentioned, just to kind of wrap this all up in a bow for us. But Cameron, thank you very much for coming on. Thank you for putting out that code for our viewers today. I hope that we can get some more riders on Endurance 360. For those that kind of watch kind of what we do here on ODZ, I am actually using the product at this time. I'm on my 7th day now, and a lot of you know that I'm doing a lot of endurance blocks. I find it very easy to take in the morning. I've done exactly what Cameron has asked me. I'm using the non-caffeine version just because we're working out so early in the morning at like 3 or 4. So getting that done, and it's actually worked pretty well. A lot of you guys know that I've been doing my SST sessions up to 90 minutes, 120 minutes at a time. So I've done even at low cadence, cramping, all those things seem to be pretty at bay. But when I get to my 3rd week of this block, we'll see. It is actually a clone of my last 3 blocks. So I'll be able to kind of see how it was different between the last block of 3 weeks and this block of 3 weeks with the product. So I'm hoping to at least give a little bit of insight to you guys out there. So I guess an N of 1, I guess. So we'll see. But again, Cameron, thank you so much for coming on, for talking to us and sharing about this great product, and for the code as well. And if there's anything before we go, you can go our parting words here.
Oh, thank you, Jason. Been great talking to you, and everybody have a great ride out there. Be safe.
Excellent, excellent. All right, and we'll see everyone else in the feed zone. All right, just need a quick moment to switch over audio.
Nice, very nice.
All right. So I'm back. I've just got a couple more minutes here. I know the ride is officially over, but I've just got a couple slides to kind of touch. Just wanted to kind of touch a couple things that Cameron touched on as far as his let's see, get the camera up and get the game up. We should be good to go. All right, so just a couple things really quickly. He's got his breakdown here. He's got his nutritional facts on the backside, all the different things. I'll break these down one by one for us just so that we can get an idea, and I'll come back to these slides. He's got the 2 versions, the regular version with all his additives like his beta-alanine, his creatine, his cordyceps, and the proteins. But then he also has his second part, which is I gotta drop this out. His second part, which also has caffeine, and so that's this one here. And so I need to make sure I drop one more slide out. There we go, got it. All right, and then so really quickly, beta-alanine is actually essentially a non-essential amino acid, and it boosts carnosine within the muscles. And what we find that it actually, for multiple efforts, it actually has positive effects in these endurance athletes. So very, very positive. If you haven't tried that before, it's definitely something worth a try. The only problem that we've had in the past is that you've had to slowly dose beta alanine over the course of a day, which can be difficult. With Endurance 360, you could do it all in one time. And for whatever reason, with the combination of the proteins, you don't get much of the side effects. And I have a pretty good use with it. The second big thing it has is creatine, and essentially it's a compound that's used for a fuel source. It's also great for recovery and that sort of thing. And this is something that's been well documented. We've covered it here in the feed zone. So cordyceps is something a little bit new, but it's used in traditional Chinese medicine to help those with respiratory ailments. And studies have shown that the cordyceps actually significantly improved maximum amount of oxygen in the people that were able to essentially take these cordyceps. These come in the form of normally tea and things like that. So in Chinese medicine, it's actually brewed for long periods of time, up to 8 to 12 hours in a very slow brew, and able to use these medicines to get that respiratory effect. But we're able to concentrate those into an extract and be able to get that into us a little bit more quickly. The radiola is the second part. It's the story about the Tibetan Sherpas. It's a route that they were used on the excursions up to Mount Everest, and it's essentially for oxygenation and nutrition transportation. So this is during our endurance efforts. So again, this crossover between Eastern and Western medicine and starting to use these things in endurance. And then the last 5 things I wanted to highlight, there's a couple amino acids which are pretty key, and then the names are at a loss, but they increase energy and concentration, they eliminate toxins, improve muscle function, decrease muscle fatigue, and increase exercise capacity. Really important in the fact that yes, we could get these in a protein source, but these are broken down amino acids for very fast, quick absorption over time. So it does take time for these to kind of all build up. He was talking about a 10 or 14 day build-up period, and that's about where I'm at now, and I definitely feel like it's working well. I'm going to be doing a whole 30-day session with it and probably continuing on from the looks of things, but so far, so good. So again, he had a really interesting story, if you did listen at the very beginning, about USADA actually testing an athlete that had been on it for a good amount of time, and it was a Masters 40+ racer. And he actually was able to pass. He's a 1-2-3 racer at the Tulsa Tough Criterium in 2016. As Brett Crosby was his name. And here's the official letter that they sent him a month or 2 later. They were pleased to inform him that the results didn't indicate any prohibitive substance. So very safe, very, very clean. And that's one of the things that kind of turned me onto the product because of the amount of time that's taken into making this product clean. If you know anything about supplement products, there is no FDA kind of regulation about how good, how much, or that sort of thing. So when it comes from a good place where somebody knows who is making it or them themselves are making it in a chemical lab, I think that is something to kind of put up on a pedestal and say, hey, this is a really good product to try. So at this point, I'd say I'd recommend it. I'm going to be coming back in 4 weeks to let you guys know. I'm going to be repeating a couple big things, including a 100K time trial at the end of this block. So I should be able to get a chance to see how the difference was in the last 4 weeks. So I'll come back in 4 weeks and let everybody know. But at this point, definitely check it out. And for those that are on Team ODZ or listen to In the Feed Zone, we have a 15% code off, and it's July Fun. So really, really grateful to Endurance 360 for extending that to us. So definitely check out the website. Really great information there. Last slide here is we've got a comparison of the different things. We've got some of the things that we know, of course, the 2 formulas of Endurance 360. We've got sport legs, one called EPO Boost. And the other 2 I hadn't heard of. I believe they're from overseas, but you can see the combinations of different things. You know, we take different products for different things. This is a product that actually has a lot of the things that we're taking, and the big ones are creatine, beta-alanine, and proteins, and then something for cramping. You've got 4 different products in one place for that retail price, and with the 15% off discount and something that we can use moving forward, I think it's something that's at least worth a try to put into your regimen to see if it's something that can work. So definitely check out the website, Endurance 360, Complete Endurance, and it's at endurance360.com. And the new product of Beat Pro, I haven't had a chance to try it. It's very, very new on the market, but the website is up and running, so check that out at beatpro.com. I'm going to pull up to see if there's any questions. I know this kind of went a little bit long, but it was definitely interesting on the side of the conversation. So on the market. Let me see if there's anything here on this end. But if there's anything on Discord, if you guys are on mute, I know it's kind of loud to kind of get all the audio sorted out. But if there's anything here, I'm more than happy to answer questions about the product as well.
Jason, it's Booker.
Go ahead.
I actually have two questions. I'll just start with the first one. He says you can take it year round. Does he suggest, or you may not know, does he suggest taking time off it at certain points during the season to reset and then go back at it?
He said, I did ask him that specifically, and it may have been in our preliminary talks and questions. But he felt that if you are training versus just kind of in a total rest period, like not on the bike or not doing any cross training, you could be off it. But in fact, if you're doing some amount, which a lot of us do, even in the off season, that it would be safe to take all around the year, because a lot of it is some really natural products that we're getting from our whole food sources. This is a supplement to those whole food sources. So it is safe to take all around. Yes.
Cool, thanks. And the second one is, what are his suggestions on taking the beetroot and the other supplements together? Is there anything behind that?
No, yeah. So they are separate products. If you remember, I did have it was 2 or 3 episodes ago. So with beetroot and the nitric oxide, the thing about that is timing. So really, when you do take, there is not an adaptation period or a loading period per se. But what you need to do is time it before your events. So you're looking at it lasting for about 2.5 to 3 hours. But when in fact it's in the extract form, they're finding that it's lasting even longer for them in their testing, where it's being found in the system longer. So in fact, there is no competition between the two products. So it can easily be used on the training day or on race day, or your big ride days. You can easily take them together.
Got it. Thanks.
Excellent. Anything else out there? Bussy, Maura, anyone?
I'm good. I like it.
Yeah, sounds good. Really great talk.
I'm waiting on your report.
Yeah, I'll be back for that in a couple weeks. Like I said, I'm about 10 or 14 days in, and it's been really good. I mean, I've been able to do, I think, I'm at 80 minutes of SST right now total, and low cadence, high cadence, it's been working really well. So it's a little bit long-ended on tooth. We're about at 40 minutes, but thank you, and I appreciate everybody's time today. And if you have any questions about this, definitely post up. Otherwise, I will see everybody in the feed zone, and I'll see you next week. Have a great day, everybody.
Yep.
So, Jay.